Hello and welcome to the SchoolPod and BehaviourWatch recording behaviour and reporting on behaviour. My name is Michael, and today we're going to be looking through what we call the behaviour slips within SchoolPod and BehaviourWatch, which are located along the top of the screen at the moment. And we're going to see how you can record and then report on these behaviour slips. So the first behaviour slip that we're going to have a look into is the contact log, which is located next to my name on the top left-hand side. We can click into the contact log and we can see here a list of the behaviour slips that are already recorded within this behaviour slip. And we have the student, the slip name, the occurred date and period. We can complete a brand new contact log by clicking on Complete Contact Log at the bottom left-hand side. And this brings us to a blank contact log behaviour slip. So at the top of the contact log is the core slip information. This core slip information is needed to be recorded to actually save and close a behaviour incident. So along the top we have the staff member who is currently logged into the system. We can select a student that this contact log is for. We can give a description. Now the description can be used as a window into the contact log as well as the context of the contact log as well. So we can give this a title. And then we can start typing in the actual contact log. We can give this a status as open or closed, and the status is just an indication of whether or not this particular contact log is ongoing or whether or not it is closed and completed. We can say the date that this particular contact log took place, and we can give a time for when this contact log took place as well. So we can click on the time and we can say that this was in the morning at 10:19 a.m. And we can backdate this as well by clicking on the date widget and then assigning this to, say, Friday the 21st. We also have another option within the core slip information at the top to CC in other members of staff to this particular contact log. And this allows us to then select existing staff members that we have within the system to CC into the contact log. And I can then click onto the staff member's name and then I can select these staff members. This means that once this particular behaviour slip is then saved and closed, the staff members that I've selected for to be CC'd into the contact log will receive an email notification regarding this contact log. Down below I have additional information. Now these sections that you see here where we have the tick boxes along for contact via and reasons for contact. These are the sections that can relate to the specifics of the contact log that you're wanting to record, and these can be changed to suit your language, your terminology, or what you're looking to report on from a particular contact log. So here I can say how the contact was made, so I can say it was made by telephone. And then I can give a reason for the contact as well. So I can say this was a general reason, it was regarding attendance, and it was about a student's behaviour. So once I'm happy that all the information that I've got within this contact log is correct, I can then go to the bottom right hand side and I can save and close. So you can see here that we've now got that particular contact log that's been recorded for Friday the 21st of June. And then we also have the brief description or a window into that particular contact log in the list view of these slips. Okay, so now we're going to move on and we're going to record a different type of behaviour, which we can record a merit or your positive behaviour. Now within SchoolPod and BehaviourWatch, these behaviour slips are linked to a positivity in the background. So the contact log is something that we would call a information slip. The behaviour for merit or incident, so merit would be your positive behaviour slips and incidents would be your negative behaviour slips. And these slips can then be reported on against their positivity when we come to report on them later. So we can click on behavior and we can click on merit, and you can see here a list of all the top most recent merit slips. We can then complete a merit at the bottom left-hand side, and we'll have additional options now specifically for the merit slip. So you can see here that the core slip information is similar to what it was within the contact log, but we also have additional options to add in additional students to give out a group reward for this behavior. And we can do that by clicking on the green plus button at the top, which will add in an additional drop down to select a student. Alternatively, what we can do is we can click on the red plus button at the top left-hand side, and we can add in a group of students. Now that could be either a form group, a class group, or a year group. And you can see here with the student selector, this is changed to all of my 1A form group students on the left-hand side. What I can do is then I can select, and this will then populate the entire behavior slip at the top section with all those students that are part of that 1A form group. I can then record a description, and again, this description is a window into the merit that I'm recording. So, great work today from all of the 1A form group. I can then attribute this particular merit to a subject, and these drop downs where we've got location, subject, and period then become reportable when we come to report on these behavior slips. So I can say that this actually was for great work in geography, and the location of this was within the main school, and it was for the R01 location. Now the period drop down, I can select this and I can say this actually happened during lunchtime, and this would then change the time on the right hand side. Alternatively, what I can do is I can change the time on the right hand side, and this would then change the period on the left. So we're going to say this happened at lunch. So down below we have sections for reward for, and I can give out the main reason why I'm giving out this reward. So it's great effort, perseverance, and outstanding work. And these tick boxes, you can select a single tick box or a single reason for why we're giving out this merit, or alternatively, it could be a series of reasons why we're giving out this particular merit. We can then do a type of reward, which is just saying what type of reward we want to give out from this good behavior. So we're going to say we're going to award house points, and this brings us up to a drop down where we can select the amount of house points that we're looking to reward. And each student is going to receive 8 points. We can send a text message to parents, and this just sends a preset text message to the priority 1 contacts, notifying them about that merit. And this text message can be set up in the background to automatically be sent once this is saved and closed. We can generate a postcard. We can give them a bronze certificate or a gold certificate. And if this was 100% attendance reward, we can identify that it was 100% attendance reward there as well. We can then also give out some nominations. So this is a section where we can actually say that this is a nomination, or this particular merit is a nomination for the Star of the Week award, or the Teacher's Choice, or the end of year prize draw. So once we're happy with the selections made within this particular merit slip, we hit save and close. So give it some time, because we're looking to save and close a slip for all of these students that are located in this drop down. It will take some time initially to kind of save and close this. We can see here, these are all the merits that we've just recorded just a moment ago. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the incident and show you how we record a incident slip. So this could be categorized in the background as your negative behavior. So again, there's going to be some additional information in here that is required to complete this particular incident slip. And these incident slips, or these types of behaviors that we're recording, they can all be changed or set up to suit the language or how you're recording these in school at the moment. We can complete a behavior incident at the bottom left-hand side. And we have a similar sort of setup for the core slip information at the top. We can select a student. We can then assign additional information to say whether or not there was a specific student that was a target or a victim of this particular negative behavior incident that we're recording. We can then record a description. and we can attribute this to a subject. We can change the status, so we can say that this was ongoing. We can say the location of where this happened, so we can say this was the main school and this was the front office, and we can give it a date, the date of when this incident happened. We can say the period or time, similar to how we were recording the merits and the contact logs. This information of the core slip at the top can then be reported on. Now down below we have additional sections that's asking us to categorize the type of negative behavior that we're recording. So we have a section to indicate the behavior type, or the behavior that was displayed during this negative behavior incident. We have a section for the antecedents and the triggers. We have a section for the consequences or the outcomes of the negative behavior incident that we're recording. We also have a section that can record positive handling or physical interventions. And we have senior staff actions here as well. So at the behavior type at the top, we can record disruptive, we can record verbal to pupil or racism. We can then say any antecedents or any sort of triggers that led up to this particular negative behavior incident. So this was peer pressure, tiredness, hunger and thirst. And then we can say any consequences or follow-on actions from this negative behavior that we're recording. So this was a verbal reprimand, loss of points, and we can indicate the loss of points here. And we can say that there was teacher action of use of humor and change of location. Now with this change of location tick box, we can actually identify the location that we've changed or moved this particular student out from to then diffuse the situation. So this happened at the top, this happened at the front office, and it was at lunch. We then changed the location, or we moved that student to classroom 1, and we can say that this happened and how long that change lasted for. So that was 12 p.m. for 12:15, and then we can say that this lasted to 12:30. In here, we just said that the change of location happened to class 1. It started at 12 p.m. or 12:15 p.m. and then it ended at 12:30 p.m. We can then identify if there was any physical intervention or positive handling used within this incident, and the way that we can do that is by clicking on the physical intervention details, and this brings us up to another widget or a series of options that we can identify the specifics for that physical intervention. So we can say the total duration of that physical intervention, which lasted for 2 minutes. We can select the staff member who performed a physical intervention. We can then select the hold, and we can select the body area for that physical intervention. We can also say if there was another staff member who was involved with that physical intervention. So we can say that there was another staff member that was using a different hold during this 2-minute physical intervention. We can then also add in an engagement and a disengagement from that physical intervention. So by doing this, we can click on the green plus button, and we can say that there was a certain duration for the first intervention, which was performed by these 2 staff members at these different body areas for these different holds. And then we can say that there was a separate duration of different holds for a different engagement for the physical intervention. So we can say that this physical intervention lasted for 2 minutes 30 seconds on this particular engagement. And we can say that there was only one particular person that employed a single hold from this physical intervention. You can see here now that the total duration of this physical intervention was 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And this was from the first engagement, which was 2 minutes, performed by 2 staff members. And then this was from the second engagement here, which was for 2 minutes 30 seconds, and this was performed by a single staff member for this hold at this location, which gives us a total of 4 minutes and 30 seconds. We can then say how this physical intervention was in the best interest of the child. We can then record any sort of injuries that might have occurred during this particular physical intervention on the body map. And then here we can select the front, and it was the forehead, and then we can give evidence to that injury for the student. So student. We can add in a review date to this particular behavior incident slip. So this review date is just saying that this particular staff member can then review this incident and then can close off this incident. at a future date. And this will then be populated in a part within Monitor for their next actions or within their behavior calendar within the system. We then have the senior staff actions, which can basically denote if there's any sort of higher level sort of actions that need to be performed within this behavior slip. So who dealt with this, and then we can select the staff member who dealt with the senior staff actions. We can say that there was a meeting with the parent and guardian, and we can outline what the details of that meeting was. And then we can record some exclusions if we need to, and this can be an internal exclusion. We can select the DFE reason for that exclusion. We can say where this is going to happen, and we can say what the duration is in terms of half days or full days in terms of how long this exclusion is going to last for. And we can also add in some notes for this exclusion as well. So once you're happy with the information that you're recording, we can then hit save and close at the bottom right hand side. And that's that particular behavior incident recorded, and it's gone into the list in terms of chronology order of all the incidents that we have. So another type of behavior slip that you can record is the accident slip at the top right hand side, and we can click onto that, and then we can complete behavior accidents here as well. Alternatively, when we're in this particular list view, what we can do is we can filter, and we can filter on the specific behavior slips for, say, an individual student, or for a specific type of behavior that has occurred within these accident slips here. So in example, I can then filter at the bottom left hand side. I can select, say, a form group from the choice of my filters, and I can click go. And this report now is only showing me only the 2A form group accident slips that have been recorded. I can then filter on the student dropdown, and I can select a specific student, and this will then show me only the total of the specific student's slips within this specific form group. So we're going to complete a brand new accident, and we're going to select a student from the course slip information at the top again. We can relate this back to a subject if we need to, and we can give the period and the time of when this incident took place. We can then record the injury type, the accident type, and the body map of the accident. So we can say where the injury actually took place on the student, and we can give a description for this accident, or the injury specifically for the student. We can denote who the teacher was in charge when this incident happened. And we can also record the treatment given. We can give a declaration in terms of whether or not the parents have been informed or your priority contacts have been informed for a head injury. And we can send out a text for a minor incident as well. And we can then generate a letter or an accident report from this behavior that we're recording here for the accident. So that's just a brief overview of how you actually record your different types of behavior, which are located along the top of the screen when you're within home, and some of the information that you can record within the different types of behavior. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at how we actually report on the behavior, and specifically how we report on the behavior incidents and the types of behavior within those behavior incidents. So on the top right hand side, I'm going to move across and I'm going to go to reports, and then I'm going to be defaulted into the behavior reports here. So when we click on reports, we can click onto behavior, and then we can see a list of all the different types of behavior reports that we can run based on the slips that we've just recorded. So the first report that I'm going to show you is the incidents over time report. Now, this incidents over time report is a report that looks at all of the behavior slips that have been recorded across this academic year for all of the different types of behavior. So you can see here on the right hand side, we have a key for the totals on the bar charts, and this can indicate what that was. So on the gold chart, that is behavior merit. On the red bar, this one is your behavior incident. On the blue bar, we then have your accidents, and then on the green bar, we have the contact log. We then have a series of options down below this bar chart that allows us to shape the report in the middle. We can then group this by term instead of month, so this will show us totals of behaviour slips this academic year by term. We can then turn this into a line graph, which will then change these totals instead of a bar chart output into a line graph. We can change this to an area graph. We can turn on averages if we want to, and we can also switch off the total bar if we need to as well. What we can also do is we can click into these totals, and this will show us a list or a chronology report of all the behaviour incidents that have made up these totals. So I've just clicked into the merit total, and that was showing 116 for that particular term total for the behaviour slips. This is now showing us a total of those behaviour slips, or a chronology report of those specific incidents. What I can do is I can double click into one of these incidents, and this will bring us back into the originating behaviour slip that we've recorded. Okay. So with this report, what we can do is we can actually filter, and we can actually specify to look at a certain behavior type or a certain behavior positivity from the filter. So the way that we do this is we go down to the bottom left-hand side and we click onto filter. And then we have a series of options that we can choose to home in on regarding this particular behavior report. We can change our positivity in the elements section to look at just the negative behavior slips. So that would be your behavior incident slips, or it could be a negative behavior levels slip. And we can say that this is going to be for this academic year, or we can change the time frame if we want to. And we can select a specific form group or year group in terms of this filter selection. So we're just going to leave it on positivity as being negative behavior. And then we're going to click go. And what that does is just applies those filters to this particular report. So now we just have a total of negative behavior slips as a bar chart by term for this academic year. And you can see here that there's a little breadcrumb on this report that gives us an indication of what the filters are that we have selected down at the bottom left-hand side. So what we can do is we can actually add in an additional filter down at the bottom left-hand side to compare this report to another filter selection. So if we click on this little compare button at the bottom left-hand side, this will bring us up multiple bar charts now with A and B filters. And you can see here that the breadcrumb has changed to filter A is looking at just the negative behavior incidents. And you can see that the bar chart indicator on the right hand side now has an indicator of what the filters are. And then we have filter B, which is looking at all behavior slips for this academic year. So on filter B, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, say, the positivity for negative behavior, but I'm also going to focus on the single behavior slip, which is the behavior incident. And then I'm going to focus on a specific field or a tick box that is within this slip. So I want to know how many behavior incidents that we've had and how many of those behavior incidents resulted in a physical intervention. And the field that denotes or indicates that a physical intervention has taken place is this particular field here, which is physical intervention details. So I can change this, I can set this up and click on go. So this report is now showing me an overview of how many particular negative behavior slips or behavior incidents have been recorded per term, and how many has then resulted in a physical intervention. So I can change this and I can look at month, and this will break this down even further. I can then change the show as drop down and I can look at the area graph, and it will change the style of the report. Physical interventions is very useful to get a brand overview of all of the behavior slips, and you can do some comparison of the different types or the specifics within those slips. What we can actually do is we can come back out of the incidents over time, and then we can look at, say, the group report to look at the specific behaviors that make up the totals that we had within incidents over time. So if we click into group report, this report is then showing you a slip distribution per form group, and this is by all of the positivities of the different types of slips that you can record. So that would be your information slips, your positive slips, and your negative behavior slips. We can then change this by drop down, and we can specifically look at the sections within those slips, and one of them would be incident. This now is showing me all the different types of negative behavior incidents that have been recorded throughout this entire academic year for the negative behavior incident slip. We can then use the show all drop down on the left hand side, and then we can do greater than, and we can start asking the system to return a report that all of these behavior incidents on the side here that you see, we want to show any time that these have happened that are greater than 3 times. So you can see now that the report is then changed to only show us the behavior incident types that have happened more than 3 times. And we can keep on going, so we can say we want to show greater than 5 times. So you can see now that the top 3 behavior incidents that have been recorded for this academic year is the disruptive behavior, verbal to pupil, and then verbal to adult. We can also do a compare mode and a filter mode for this particular report as well. So we could filter at the bottom left-hand side, and then we could record, say, a gender in terms of our context drop-downs on the left. So we're going to look at